This is Kelly Houk, a man who, one fateful afternoon, looked in the mirror and thought, "Good grief, the world deserves a documentary about me." Now, most people would suppress that thought. Kelly, he opened his editing software. What began as a casual family history project quickly spiraled into what experts now refer to as a full-blown narcissistic event. He called it a creative vision. His friends called it, "Oh no, he's narrating himself again." Kelly says he's funny. He says he's a great singer. And you know what? That could absolutely be true. But the fact that he's the one telling you that kind of ruins it, doesn't it? So, in the spirit of historical accuracy and mild self-obsession, he has created the ultimate story of how he became himself. A cinematic deep dive into ancestry, adventure, and just a touch of "please validate me." So sit back, relax, and prepare for the epic, unnecessary, and somehow still entertaining saga known as How He Became Kelly Houk. He wasn't born in one place. He was assembled, piece by piece, across oceans, forests, and centuries of questionable decision-making. His name is Kelly Houk, a man handcrafted by 500 years of wanderers who simply refused to stay put. And now, he travels for a living, because apparently that's the family business. Our tale begins in Coventry, England. The year, somewhere around 1575, meet Thomas Potter, merchant, mayor, man of very strong opinions. He married Anne Fenn, who raised 16 children, proving early modern England had no concept of quiet time. Their son, George Potter, born around 1606, took one look at England and decided to leave. In 1638, George and his wife, Frances Cole, boarded a ship for Rhode Island. No GPS, no air conditioning, just hope and seasickness.
Off to America.
They settled in Portsmouth, a place built by people who thought, "Freedom sounds great, let's go invent it." They lived, worked, and raised a son, Abel Potter. Abel inherited their stubborn streak and their belief that hard work beats hierarchy. It's a trait that would echo through centuries of Potters. Back in England, another branch was sprouting, Captain John King and Elizabeth Parkhurst from Norfolk. Their daughter, Anne Elizabeth King, married Robert Hill.
Off to America.
Robert Hall and Jane Lacaribe raised their son William in Ireland, 1653. Headed for Scotland and Ireland because clearly the family wasn't content with just one accent.
Off to America.
The Halls added a healthy dash of Scottish drama and Irish resilience to the mix, which explains why Kelly can tell a joke and make it sound like a sermon. Now, over in Lagenbach, Germany, another story was brewing, with Wilhelm Hauk, born 1631. He survived the 30 Years' War. 30 years of war. If that doesn't qualify as endurance, nothing does. His descendants came to America, where Hauk became Houk, mostly because English clerks looked at the spelling and gave up. By the 1700s, the Hauks were in Pennsylvania, fighting in the American Revolution, because, apparently, rebellion was hereditary. By the 1800s, they'd settled in Missouri, farming, building, and passing down the sacred family motto, "We'll figure it out." Meanwhile, the Potters were on the move again, from Rhode Island to New York, to Pennsylvania, to Ohio, and finally, to Oregon. They farmed, they logged, they built, turning wilderness into homestead, one muddy boot at a time. If they'd had Wi-Fi, they'd probably have live-streamed it. Then came the Bjorks, although originally They were Johnsons. When they arrived from Sweden in the late 1800s, Ellis Island officials sighed and said, "Too many Johnsons. You're Bjorks now." The Bjorks were farmers, lumberjacks, and musicians. They could split logs by day and play guitar by night. Kelly's grandfather, Arne Bjork, could play just about anything: guitar, piano, trumpet, organ, harmonica. A one-man orchestra with a Swedish accent. That talent didn't skip a generation. Kelly himself learned trumpet, baritone, tuba, and he sings too. Quite well, actually. It seems the family rhythm never stopped. It just found a new instrument. Fast forward to the 1960s. Seattle, coffee, rain, endless flannel. Charles Houk, born in Missouri, raised in Washington, met Cheryl Bjork, daughter of Oregon's forests and daughter of Arna, and the woman destined to balance him out. They married, started a family, and moved to Montana, where the skies are big, the winters are longer, and the views are worth it. They had 4 kids. Kelly was the third, which explains the mix of patience, sarcasm, and perfect comedic timing. Born in Montana, raised on grit and imagination. Now based in Arizona, surrounded by deserts, volcanoes, and open roads, Kelly turned centuries of migration into a modern mission to explore the world and tell its stories. He's the father of 5 daughters, 3 biological, 2 stepdaughters, and the grandfather of 7. And in a poetic twist worthy of Shakespeare, one of his daughters now lives in Hampshire, England.
Back to England.
The very place his ancestors left 400 years ago. History, it seems, has a sense of direction. 500 years, 7 nations, 1,000 choices, each one leading right here. The Potters gave him curiosity, the Hauks gave him strength, the Halls gave him flair, the Bjorks gave him rhythm, and Cheryl and Charles Houk gave him everything else, including the sense to use it well. So when he travels, when he films, when he stands on a volcano ridge or in a centuries-old street, he's not just Kelly Houk, the traveler. He's all of them. He's a storyteller with 500 years of voices behind him, each one whispering the same thing. Keep going, kid. Also, and let's be honest, he probably just can't sit still.
Off to America.
Back to England.